Hello and welcome to the Overland Journal podcast. I'm your host, Scott Brady, and I'm here with my co-host, Matt Scott. We are all drinking some champagne right now, which is celebratory in some small way, but more, I think, as lubrication for conversation. Let's call it that. So I am very, very excited to have Lindsay and Jessica. They are the co-founders of Lodestone Events, who put on the Overland Expo that we have come to know and love. And this event is very dear to me. It's been exciting to see it grow from conversations that even started in my kitchen. So this is really exciting to see from 2009 until today, where we're going to have 30,000 people, we've heard, here in Flagstaff, which is it the biggest number yet?
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Definitely the biggest number so far.
Well, thank you both so much for being on the podcast.
Sure.
How does the number 30,000 feel to you?
It feels really great because, I think there's a lot of pent up energy in the industry. And so we knew that the event was going to be really strong this year, but people came out in droves, even in the rain on Sunday. So we were really impressed by that.
Yeah, that was great.
It's definitely a hearty community.
Yeah. I think it's cool.
It's
I don't know.
definitely cool.
I went to my first Overland Expo when I was 21, and I was not drinking champagne in an Earth Roamer then. I was drinking PBR and whatever Scott had me sleeping in. So
nice.
Some version of a trailer or a roof tent. Exactly.
yeah, probably something like that. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was great. It was cool. I was 21.
Every day's a good day. Every day's a good day.
We've all grown up.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But we still had PBR on Friday. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a fridge full of it.
Yeah.
Just in case.
The apple
we
does
need
not fall far from the tree.
Champagne budget, beer taste.
it. Yes.
See
I like
See
that.
what I did there?
I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, I think the attendance is an absolutely fantastic. It's a great judge of
Yes.
what Overland Expo has become, and it is definitely representative of the foundation that Roseanne and Jonathan kind of set forth
No
for
question.
the brand. So, but on top of that, the industry support here this weekend between the media that's here and then the over 400 brands that are here to sell product and introduce new product and to engage with the community is really fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, and for me, one of the foundations of the event that I've always been so proud to be associated with is the way that you help to inspire and educate new folks to the overlanding space. And it looks like that has remained a priority for you and your team. Can you talk a little bit about how you view that part of the event and maybe even how you intend to grow that more in the future?
Sure. So
They're sisters, by the way.
Yeah.
So this is going to be very entertaining.
Finishing each other's sentences.
We share the
so-
same brain, so we can both answer these questions. But
Matt and I still hope we would get a brain at some point.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't really have one.
maybe you will after a glass of champagne. Though.
We think we
sparkling
will.
wine
We
does
do.
help.
We'll
Yes,
think we do.
yes.
Yeah.
So we were really impressed. We teach some Overland foundational classes here, and we're really impressed with the attendance in those classes. So many newcomers to the hobby, and we feel a duty really to help to train those people to overland responsibly and to learn the basics responsibly, and to know what they need and what they don't need, and to know that they can find all those items here at Overland Expo. So we had an event on Friday night, a foundation raffle. We asked everyone, hundreds of people at this raffle, asked everyone, who here is this your first Overland Expo?
Yeah.
Nearly 85-90% of the people raised their hands. And we
Yeah.
were amazed to see that many newcomers
Yeah,
to the show.
that's so fantastic from like the industry side. Like I'm media and an exhibitor here. This is how people get into it. This is how we talk to so many people. I'm going to Overland Expo to learn about overlanding. I want to check that out. It's kind of the entry point I feel for this hobby, for this passion. I think it's hugely important, and so happy to see it back. So happy to see that you guys survived and that now you're thriving. I mean, 30,000 people is awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
That is,
Well, and
yeah.
we introduced a new show this year in Colorado, the Mountain West event, and we had over 17,000 attendees there for a first year. Was fantastic.
I was impressed by that. The
Yeah.
event, one of the things I really liked about it, it was very easy to get around vendors. It was the way that the whole event was laid out, I thought was very efficient to get around. I also liked the fact that there was a little bit of difference in elevation, so you could kind of get up towards that big building
Right.
and just get a sense of the scale and the space that was there. So I really enjoyed that event. I think you're going to do well with that, especially with the proximity to Denver.
Yeah. Well, and the same thing at our foundation event on Friday night, we had, hundreds of people in the room, and it was a lot of Overland experience folks that will go through our training programs and the education programs on site. And we had, 80% of those folks were brand new to the industry. So that's, or I should say brand new to Overland Expo. So, I think that's a testament to the brand. But, as Jessica was saying, the education component of that is so important, because if we're the first stop for them to come and to get inspired and get educated, we have to make sure that that education is, it has a foundation in Overland respectfully, and to, to be able to, work with, great partners with like the BDR, and also tread lightly to make sure that our training is on point for those things.
Yeah, and you have 7P too, which is like the
Yeah.
absolute best of
They
the
are.
best of the
Yes.
best.
They
World
are.
class. No
Yeah.
doubt.
And with
Mhm.
Overland experience, you get that hands-on driving experience. I mean, anybody at the event can come to any of the, the basic education programs, but that upgraded, training experience with 7P and the DART team for our adventure motorcycle team.
Yeah,
is-
Builder Goo is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate to have a very great group. And again, it's a foundation that, Jonathan and Roseanne and really the Overland community it's a great opportunity for us, because it was a foundation that was set before we went.
Yeah, they were very passionate about making sure that training component was there, that environmental consideration. As the industry grows, what we're going to see more and more is these ancillary industries wanting to get involved with this rapidly growing segment. And oftentimes there can be some challenges with that. Like side by sides come to mind, where it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with a side by side, but it is a different form of travel. And if we bring them in through that process of training, tread lightly, and understanding that there are speed limits on trails and things like that, then I think it can be successful. But what we want to be really mindful of is when we do integrate ancillary communities, that they come in through that process of training and awareness and understanding that we're a guest on public lands and that we're a guest in foreign countries, and we have to come into it from the mindset of minimizing our impact on communities, on individuals, on trails, for example. And that's one thing that's really important, I think, with 7P, is that they understand that impact. And they know that they can recommend people, look, don't have groups over 3 to 5, because it ends up expanding campsites and we get trails closed down. And so we're starting to see that good communication happening, which is so important.
Well, and I think, we're also reaching out across, different lines of communication to, embrace the outdoor community, because the majority of where we're finding our growth and people that are coming to the space are folks that are not, they're overland curious, but they're
Yeah.
backpackers, or they're hikers, or they're mountain bikers, and they
We see
want
so much growth from mountain bikers and climbers and
Yes.
that kind of stuff.
Fly
It's
fishermen,
they
everything,
may not identify as an overlander, but they
Yes.
have the Tacoma with the bumper and the
They're
Max Racks and the
vehicle-based
roof rack.
adventurers.
Yeah, yeah, it's their base camp to
Yep.
go a little bit further, and I think it's been cool to kind of see that integrated into the event as well. I mean,
Yeah. And we share a foundation with, the outdoor recreation communities. And I think, in the public land debate, there's room for everyone on, public land. And it's an opportunity for all of us to get out and see how beautiful this country is.
yeah,
And we're so incredibly, it's just amazing what this country can provide to us.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just an amazing country. It really is.
and there's so much to see, and
Yeah.
this really facilitates that. And then we were so fortunate in one way with the pandemic, is that it encouraged so many people to get out.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that that's why you're seeing this big boost in attendees, is that so many people did go buy a Sprinter van, or they did put a roof tent on their Forerunner, and they went out and they socially distanced by going to some beautiful place. And now they realize that this is something that they really enjoy. So it's exciting to see this not only continued adoption, which we expected, but we've seen this almost turbocharging of the industry because of what has happened over the last year.
there's like so
Definitely.
many sprinters now.
There
It's
are.
absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
There
Like,
are.
I mean, I just got married in Telluride, and Scott was there, and it was like sprinter, sprinter,
Yes.
sprinter,
Oh, yeah.
sprinter, sprinter,
Yes.
sprinter.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
is amazing.
I even saw like a sticker on a Tacoma that was like one less sprinter. I think Sinway's I think Sinway has one on his
on his Range Rover,
on his GS or something too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
You know, I mean,
You know,
obviously good.
and I know Overland Expo has traditionally been more of like a vehicle-based adventure community, but we're trying to be more welcoming to the Sprinter van community
Yeah,
as
For sure.
well. So,
Well, they
which
make
has
so
grown
much
so
sense,
much.
right?
Absolutely.
and they can
absolutely.
be built very capable. We have several vendors here at this show that are building more capable vehicles,
Yep.
stronger
Mhm.
vans that are able to go deeper into the backcountry, and that's certainly one of the foundations of overlanding is
Yeah.
getting remote.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and again, going back to like the industry support here, even this weekend at Overland Expo, the amount of product, the new product and the innovation that's
Mm.
gone into those products is really incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, there is so much more accessibility to, all of these vehicles across the board and
Yeah.
so many different varieties of products that are out there today.
And just
So,
bringing modern convences to your camping adventure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
As we sit here in an earth roamer.
Ah, right.
drinking champagne.
Exactly. Yeah, this is a very rough day at Overland Expo. Another question that comes to mind for me, now that you two have spent several years managing these events, I've really seen your experience running events kind of permeate the processes of Overland Expo. It's definitely handled the increased crowd size because of all of your experiences with that. But what have you two learned about
Oh.
overlanding? Like what's the standout realizations that you've had that are maybe different from the events that you ran before? What's different about this community?
The community is so different. All the communities we've worked with have been wonderful in their own ways, but this community is so kind. They want to talk to each other. They want to swap fab techniques. They want to inspire each other. And we have loved getting to know so many of like the instructors and the presenters that have been a part of this community for so many years. That's been such a treat to get to know these wonderful people that are
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
community.
And I think, the products and the people in the industry, the community, it's the authenticity of all the brands that are here and the people that are here. I mean, there's a resounding, underlying current of authenticity with everything that, that is presented here at Overland Expo.
Mm.
And I have to also, I've got to get a shout out to the Overland Expo, like OG team,
Mhm.
those folks like, Eva Rupert, Nazir Neal, and, Allison DeLapp, Anthony,
Yep.
Yeah.
all of those
They are
folks.
wonderful humans.
Salt of the
Yeah.
earth,
Yeah, wonderful
wonderful
humans,
people.
yeah.
Yes. And they all had these incredible hidden talents. They were
Mhm.
doing things for Overland Expo, but over the last 2 years, we found new hidden talents in
Mm.
all of them, and we've tried to put them on a pedestal to bring those talents out, and
Yeah.
they are just shining this
Yeah.
year. They really are.
And I think, that's we obviously had some hard times during COVID-19 because
Mhm.
of the events completely being shut down. So that
Mhm.
has been a challenge for us, but our team stayed together. The group is very strong. We're stronger now than we ever have been. But, Lodestone is currently bringing on, a ton of support people. But, the original team are kind of our brand ambassadors, our leaders in how we move the company forward.
Mm.
And the rest of the team has now been brought in to basically manage the like real logistics that have to go behind, producing like a world-class event. And
Yeah.
so they're basically the infrastructure that's been needed to really support the authenticity of the brand
And the growth of the industry for sure.
right.
Absolutely.
So, but those are, the original team that was a part of the founding of Overland Expo, including 7P and
Mhm.
Roseanne and Jonathan still are very active with us and write with us. And, but those folks are leading the charge in how we are developing and moving
Yeah.
forward.
I think it's cool how that core team is still here. You
Oh,
know, and
yeah.
I think like
Oh,
the
yeah.
worry when you hear Overland Expo got sold is like,
What's going to
what's
happen?
going to happen? What's going to happen to the community? Like,
Guys, there was so
Like-
much institutional knowledge with that team.
was
An ownership that would come in and clean house like that doesn't know what they're doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
There's institutional knowledge there.
And
that you-
authenticity that
Yes.
I think the community was really counting on, staying
Absolutely.
around. So
So
Well,
one thing that we have learned so much is just from the OG Overland Expo team, we have learned the ways of this community. We've learned some things about producing the event because this event was produced differently than any other shows we'd ever produced. And in the beginning, we were like, I don't know that you want to do it that way, but we watched them do it that way, and we were
Mm.
like, this works.
Mm.
This works, and this is the way it's been here. So let's make this work because it works for this community.
yeah.
Well, and even Jessica was talking about new talents with the team, right? So like
So many new talents. Yeah.
we founded the Overland Expo Foundation, which the raffle used to go to Consa Ventures, which was Roseanne and Jonathan's foundation, and so we founded the foundation, and we've now named Allison DeLapp as our executive director. So she's
Mm.
going to stay on board with us and really develop all of our causes, all of our strategic direction for the foundation, and all the different overland inspirational stories that we can fund, and then also all the different organizations that we can fund to help their causes like the BDR and Tread
Mm.
Lightly and
Clean
all
up projects coast to coast, and
Mm.
right. So
What do you see as some of the needs within the community? What are the things that are being underserved that we should all be mindful of doing a better job of, in your mind?
um,
I think
protecting public lands and motorized access to public lands,
Mhm.
responsible use of public lands.
and the foundation is going to have a great opportunity to kind of again reach across those different organizations like the outdoor recreation communities, so that we can work together, and we can all use our public lands accessibly. The other thing I think that the foundation is going to be great at is actually supporting overlanders in very diverse categories,
Yeah.
and I think that we'd love to see more cultural
It's necessary.
initiatives
Yeah, it's necessary.
across the board. So, the foundation's going to fund great overlanding communities across the entire, internationally, and across the United States that, maybe we're highlighting some people that need to be highlighted in the
Mhm.
community.
No, that's wonderful. How do people get involved with the organization, with your not-for-profit?
So people can apply for funding on our website, overlandexpofoundation.org. And Allison DeLapp, she and the board of directors, Lindsay and I are on the board. Anthony Sicola is also on the board of directors. We review causes that have applied, and we allocate funds throughout the year. So we're in the process right now of allocating funds to different organizations and projects. There are 501c3s, and then there are also just individuals as well. We also this year launched a program, a scholarship program, where folks can apply to come to Overland Expo to basically get a complimentary Overland experience package. So let's say you're just starting in the community and you want to come here and get trained, get outfitted, get inspired. You can apply for the scholarship. We'll put you through the program. Our editors will follow you through the program, and we'll make sure that your causes and what you're working on also get some notoriety across all of our channels.
And then how would a company get involved to help as well, to maybe help sponsor?
We are developing that, and we will let everyone know in 2022,
Okay.
hopefully in January.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
First
That's
step
great.
this year was to really get this thing launched,
Mhm.
do some fundraising, which we have done a tremendous job of this year, just using the events as a stepping stone for that. And then next year is finding a new way to get the industry involved.
We also built two ultimate builds this year. One was with Honda on an Africa Twin. That was our ultimate motorcycle build. And then also one with Toyota on a Toyota 4Runner. Both builds are debuted at our Mountain West event, which was
They
absolutely
look great.
fantastic.
Yeah, they look
Yeah,
great.
we had great participation from the community and from the industry. And then those are going to be raffled off with,
Not raffled.
or sorry, not raffled
Auctioned.
off. Sorry, auctioned off at the end of the year, probably the 1st of November, around the 1st of November.
Yeah.
And with 90% of those the vehicle and the motorcycle proceeds going to the foundation.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we're
that's
gonna,
fantastic.
So fundraising, we've done a really great job of fundraising. Now we really need folks to take a look at our program and the causes that we support and apply for funding, because we are ready to start funding organizations.
Yeah. So those are listening. If you want to go see the
Please,
world
please.
and you'd
Yes.
like to get a sponsorship to come to Overland Expo,
Yes.
this is your chance. So
Yes, absolutely.
they want to help.
It's scholarship.
It is a
Scott.
scholarship.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Speaking of scholarship, I think Matt needs some more champagne.
Some champagne.
It's time.
Scholarship.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
The Overland Foundation will support you in that pour.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is quite the brunch here, guys.
I know.
today.
We just need to,
Yeah,
I don't know.
cheers.
Yeah,
Cheers.
cheers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Cheers to brunch.
Yes, brunch.
Cheers to champagne lunches.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there's a couple other things that come to mind for me is how do you see the event growing in the ways that you want to share? I mean, we now have 3 events in the country. They're all very well attended. What do you see as being the future, or what are the next steps? What can people look forward to with the event going forward?
I'm gonna let you take that one.
Well, we are looking at an additional location. It would be in a location that's definitely farther off the grid than our current 3 locations. So we can't tell you exactly what that is yet because we
Sure.
haven't finalized those details. But we're hoping that's going to be announced for 2022.
Mhm.
But it's
We're
definitely a region of the country that is like coveted. We all of our fans, the industry is telling us this is where we need to go next.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Pacific Northwest is
they're
perfect.
asking us, they're begging us
Yeah,
to go
They're
to this
begging.
region of the
for
country.
sure.
So
Mhm.
we're looking at that type of expansion, and obviously we want to grow the education components of all the events.
Yeah.
Flagstaff is, as much as we have great attendance here, we're kind of out of space here. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
this is
I mean,
one
you
of
were limited by parking, like at
yes,
this event,
We're
right? Like
limited
you
by a
couldn't
lot of
get
things here.
get
yeah,
enough
Yes.
shuttle space and
yes.
Yes.
everything. So
So
Yes.
it's a challenge here. We love this area and we love this place because it's so beautiful and it really lends itself to a beautiful backdrop for Overland Expo.
Well,
like,
and
do you
I
think
wrote,
it'll stay in Arizona? Are we thinking staying in the Southwest or?
Ideally, we would love for this event to stay here
Right
and to
here.
continue
Yeah.
to find ways
Yeah.
to manage audience with off-site opportunities.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, our problem right now is that, as you guys know, the industry is so strong and the demand is so high that the events have gotten really large. And so,
Yeah.
trying to find spaces that
Well,
can
and
manage an event of
companies are
this
bigger too,
size.
I mean, I
Yeah.
remember when
Yeah.
we first started coming over on Expo, everybody was camping.
Yes.
But
Yes.
now it's a work thing. Like I can't have my staff camping
Yes.
here and working 12-hour days and then being wrecked. Like you have to have that infrastructure. And I could see it though.
there's only
Flag's
so many
cool.
rooms.
Yeah.
But Flag only has so much space.
Right.
Well, and what was interesting is one of the last times that we talked, you said you hoped that the Mountain West was going to take some pressure off
Yes.
of
And it
Overland
did.
Expo West.
But we created a new pressure.
It's-
New
You just
pressure
had
point.
30,000 people show up.
I know.
I
I
know.
know.
I
So-
know.
It's
But
it's crazy, but
Yeah.
it's
But
good growth,
it's good growth, but thank goodness we added the Colorado event because
Yeah.
imagine what it would have been like here. But adding Colorado helped us to draw in some of those Pacific Northwest companies that can't come all the way to Arizona.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a halfway point for them to be a part of the show. But then, like the events have gotten so big that our challenge is finding venues that can
Mhm.
accommodate an event of our size,
Mhm.
but that still have the character that like
Yeah.
a Fort Tuthill has in the
Mhm.
beautiful pine forest and the mountains.
It's difficult.
It is. It's very complicated.
Yeah,
So,
you don't want to
and-
do it at like an NFL stadium or something.
well,
right? Like, that'd
exactly.
be
But those places
kinda
are
cheesy.
perfect to holding events, but
Yeah.
not these types of events.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be a change of character for sure.
Yes.
But you are going to see some changes just in, the education components. And, one of the things we want to do across the board is to create very diversified education components, more, maybe even some more B2B programming. Obviously,
That'd
there's
be
a
cool.
lot of folks here that already attend, that a lot of industry that obviously already attends from a booth space perspective. But we also have like a lot of retailers that attend, a lot of buyers that attend to, research products and see what's
Mhm.
happening on the industry. So, part of the education component this year was a panel each show on alternative energies and just talking about like the future of overlanding and how is electrification going to change the
Mhm.
game. And
Mhm.
we have some new technologies with like propane generators with ALP. And
Mhm.
so it's really interesting to see the different panelists and what they bring to the table. And solar is just not the only game in town anymore. So there's a lot of different other things. We're interested to see what hydrogen's going to do.
Mm.
So, this weekend we have, Mercedes here, Volvo here, we have Honda here, we have, all the folks from, the folks from Rivian showed up. And so,
That's cool.
there's just a lot of conversation going around about it. So I think it's important for our audiences also to be very educated and how people are developing that technology.
And for the most part, this community is very open to new technology. I mean, a
Yes.
lot of people in the industry are technologists. These are people that are working remotely.
Yes.
They're digi workers. They already see technology as a part of their daily life. I mean, there's certainly Luddites, like myself, maybe in some ways, but
Yes.
But
I like my V8.
yeah, it's not only a V8, it's supercharged V8.
And hey, the thing is like that's not going anywhere, right? We
Yeah,
all know that.
for
So,
sure.
it's not going anywhere. It's going to change and develop, but like technology, it's just going to continue to move the needle. And
It will.
I think we just, I think that to be at the forefront of that technology and to provide programming for it is important.
Yeah.
And it'll facilitate people spending more time in the backcountry. Like Starlink is a great example of that. And the
Yes.
ability for people to work remotely, broadband internet from pretty much anywhere. And of
Yes.
course, that's where the education is so important. How do we minimize the impact of these really remote
Yes.
and beautiful places? So now the next question I have is something that I've noticed in the two of you is a very strong leadership, not only amongst yourselves, but with you and your team and in the industry. You both have been very active in being leaders for overlanding in ancillary markets like SEMA, outdoor retailer, and other spaces. Talk a little bit about your values in leadership and talk about the things that you two have learned as leaders in this space.
Oh
Well,
boy.
there's a lot of things.
Or we could just talk about you two being sisters.
Yeah.
And there was
Sister,
somebody
sister!
somebody spiked somebody's shampoo with Nair, if I remember
Oh
correctly.
my goodness,
that
don't
is
tell
a
that story,
lie.
Scott.
That
Don't tell
is
that
a
story.
lie.
I mean, she did throw
No,
a
Scott,
spoon in my
Scott, I
head,
think
and
that
I
actually
have,
happened to
She
you.
did
have-
throw pepper in my hair.
That explains so much.
oh my gosh, I think I have a bruise still on my. No, it's like a gash in my forehead. I had to have like real surgery because she threw a spoon at me.
I ruined her modeling career. What can I say?
That's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, you had to become an event producer instead.
I'm going to
Yeah.
blame my hair situation on my sister putting Nair in my shampoo.
Yes,
So,
you
but
should.
I have
Yeah,
she
that's
got
my
back
only
to you.
excuse.
Yes, she got back at you.
She did.
I think leadership, right? So, I wouldn't say that we're the most fantastic leaders and that we have like some like 10-step program that, that we could sit and talk about, right? But I think Jessica hit on it earlier. What we have here and what we acquired from Jonathan Roseanne, like it had a foundation, and that institutional knowledge and just listening and being open to new ideas and opinions, and like being able to like take those ideas and opinions and really help those to
Mhm.
grow and foster those. I think we're both very good at that. So
I think we also we spent a lot of time, really listening and finding out what each team member was good at, what their strong skill set was, and giving them an opportunity to really shine in those areas. And then also making them take some responsibility in those areas and tasking them with becoming experts in their field and feeling like they were experts in their field, and then supporting decisions that they made on site at events or in our day-to-day 365 days a year of operating the business. And I think our team feels like we support decisions that they make.
Well, and then you also, a great example of leadership is taking responsibility for your team. COVID hits,
Absolutely.
Oh,
your
man.
revenue essentially stops, and then you make the decision to not pay yourselves and pay your people.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of things that I've heard about the character of you two that I think our industry needs going forward. We need to make that important.
You're gonna make us say the dirty P word, and it's the word pivot. You're gonna make us say
Pivot.
that word.
Just don't say synergy
So everyone,
No, we won't say that.
if you guys, honestly, if you
or
want,
collab.
Yeah,
If we ever have to
exactly.
say the word pivot again after this interview,
So there's there's actually a great scene from Friends when they're carrying this like couch up this stairway, and like Ross and Rachel, and I can't remember all the characters that are in it, but they're like carrying this couch, and they're trying to get it up around this stairway
around
that
the
curves.
corner, yes.
And they're like, pivot,
Pivot,
pivot. And Ross is like, pivot. And Rachel goes, we can't pivot anymore. And
You've
that
done all
was
the
our
pivoting,
life. We're
yeah.
done, right?
that was our life in 2020.
And I
for
feel like the
sure.
staff was like that. But at the same time, I mean, when you take an event team, right? And it's an event team, right? We have Eva Rupert, who's a food and beverage manager.
Mhm.
We have Azure O'Neill, who is like logistics, like moving shuttles and like placing
operations
Yeah.
queen.
And-
Operations queen.
And then you have, Anthony, who he's the director of sales for Overland Expo. He sells booth space.
But without events, we have nothing to sell.
You can't sell booth space. You're not logistically
Right.
doing anything. You
Mhm.
definitely don't need a
Mhm.
food and beverage manager.
Mhm.
So at that point in time, and I got to give great credit out to Nick James. He's a new addition to our team. He
Mhm.
came on in
He's great.
end
He's
of
great.
In January
2019.
of 20. No,
Yeah.
January 2020.
Yeah. And he came up with our editorial strategy and kind of came up with our the compass, which is our publishing channel today.
Sure.
And he basically turned our seasoned event professionals into editors and writers and
Content creators, photographers, videographers. It was pretty
And
amazing.
It's impressive.
But what we found out was, they are overlanders. This is what they do. And so, like social distancing, it's what they do,
Right?
So
We
they're
got
like,
this.
yeah, they're like, oh,
Mhm.
hey, we got this. So our food and bev manager became our motorcycle ambassador. And, Azure went from a logistics manager to our director of programming and programmed all of our virtual events. And Anthony, he's a fantastic writer and he's so inspirational in the way that he tells stories. So,
Mhm.
all of these folks became extremely important to a pivot, you know? But at the end of it, what we ended up with was, this absolutely fantastic group of folks. And on top of that, our virtual strategy, I mean, we had what, 36,000 people attend our virtual education that had never visited overlandexpo.com before.
Yep.
So we knew that those people were there. They're craving education. And our people, like the team, they were amazing in the way
Yeah.
that they were able to do that.
Everything with those virtual events was kept in house with our core team of professionals.
Yeah.
They produced all of that.
No, I'm
for
not
us.
kidding you. There was a lot of crying.
Yeah.
I mean, the day that
Did
we
you pivot
announced
away
it,
from the crying?
Well,
we
we
tried,
did, and then
but
we
there was
cried
some
again,
crying,
and
more
then we
crying.
pivoted.
Pivot to crying.
And I think that in the beginning they thought we were crazy. They really did think we were crazy, but then they were like, "This makes sense."
Working.
And today we have basically diversified our portfolio and made
Sure.
ourselves more valuable to the community as
No
well.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, you found other ways to tell these great stories that
Yes.
you have been telling in person.
Yes.
Now you're able to tell it through video, and
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Eva's done an amazing job with that, and
Mhm.
Yes.
the rest of your team, and and your editorial is fantastic, and
Yes.
and people are following that, which is
Yeah.
I think so important.
And we are going to be launching in 2022. It'll be a pretty interesting educational, a virtual education and video strategy. So look forward to that rolling out. We also launched a program called Why We Roam this year, which is a video, a compilation video of like all of our community ambassadors. And it highlights great overlanders in the community. Not necessarily our team, but like just folks that are doing really great things, in the
Yeah.
community.
Very
So,
cool.
Yes.
Well, it's impressive to see what you've done.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. But
Yeah,
it wasn't
that
The
just
means a
event was
lot.
like really well run this year.
Yeah.
Like there's like
Super tidy.
Stop it. You want something, don't you? You want something.
Matt has all he needs.
I always want something.
Thank you for saying that. We
Yes.
had our challenges this year. Huge.
It wasn't on the it wasn't on the surface. I didn't see it.
Well,
so.
well, by design, that's good. We like to be ducks on the water, right?
Underneath
So
I did hear some
surface.
ambulance last night. Hopefully everybody's okay.
everybody
Yeah,
was okay.
Everybody's
Yes.
okay. Everybody's
Yes.
okay. Just maybe a little bit too much.
Too much
partying.
to drink.
Wait, was that me?
Yeah.
Oh wait, maybe
Wait,
it
you
was
don't
you.
remember that? Too funny.
Blame all of the hangovers on Paul May.
Oh yes,
Right.
it was
Every
Paul's
year
fault.
on Sunday, I have this idea. One day a year, I blame Paul May.
It's Paul May
I need to
Day.
hand them out to all of the people that have hangovers.
Yes. Yes.
T-shirts. I
Yeah.
like this. We should have Paul.
But we're gonna forget it after this day, and then I'm
True.
gonna bring it up
Yes.
again next year
In
on
May,
Sunday.
next May.
Right.
Yeah.
When?
Yes.
So, is there a date for next year?
It is going to be around like the third weekend in May.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So back to the
traditional-
regular
Yeah.
schedule.
Regular
Traditional
program.
dates.
So
I like
we'll
that.
announce our full schedule in November.
Okay, awesome.
So I gotta ask you, what was your favorite part about the show this year?
Matt?
Having a lot of people in my booth buying things.
Oh.
I mean, I could lie. No, I mean, it was packed. We did a lot of classes, which was really cool to be able to
Mhm.
put that in the source book, and we
Good.
brought 7P in to assist with the teaching.
Oh, great.
Yes.
But I love the equipped party every year, and I think it's really cool that that's kind of been allowed to stay, because that is the old guard get
Yes.
together,
That's
and
part
I
of-
think that
part of
that's
the
really
fabric.
it's really really important, and
Right.
it's so cool to see that.
Mhm.
It was a pivot.
Yeah. Pivot,
But-
pivot,
Don't say
pivot,
that
pivot.
word.
Yes. Yes.
That was great. I mean, that's something that I look forward to. I mean, especially after the year that we all had. Or
Mhm.
are we saying it was 2 years now? I mean, like, what, I don't know
It
what.
feels
don't
like
even-
5. I don't know.
Yeah. After
Time warp.
COVID-19 in 21, it was just nice. It felt like the world was kind of starting to get back to normal
Yep.
last night, and that
Yes.
was my favorite part.
Mm.
What about you, Scott?
Well, personally, it's always wonderful to see people that I love and
Yes.
that have been a part of my life for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing this for 20 years. So to see these people that have made my life
Mhm.
possible because of their
Mhm.
support is always just really meaningful to me.
Mhm.
But as a business, one of the things that was really fun is we launched the podcast it was a few days before Christmas in 2019. And then there were no events.
Mhm.
Now we knew the podcast was doing well, like statistically it was doing very well. But we had no idea if anybody in our community was listening. Maybe these were those ancillary folks or people who don't,
Sure.
but it has been nonstop at this
Great.
event.
Everyone.
Mhm.
How much
So
people
great.
have enjoyed the podcast. We just went over 500,000 downloads. So there's things that are happening that are really meaningful. But the thing that was most meaningful to me is the person walking into the booth and saying, "We love the
Like,
podcast."
people were tracking us
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
It was great. I mean, like, I've
They're
been
like, I love the connection.
I was also a
Yeah.
little bit mad because I've been writing for 10 years and doing these significant trips.
Mhm.
And now I do this stupid podcast, and that's
exactly.
what people are like
Exactly.
coming up to me for.
They
and
love
I'm
it.
like,
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
love it.
I mean, like, it's cool. It's great. It's awesome.
You're a
I'm not-
total celebrity.
You
I'm not.
are.
I'm
You
not.
are.
They're like, can I
complaining.
have your autograph?
I
Please.
didn't. I only had Scott ask for my autograph.
Oh,
That's right, exactly. I'm still trying to be as cool as Matt.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll ask you for it. I'll be like, can you sign my
Sweet.
T-shirt?
Yeah, I'll sign a T-shirt. There is a fee.
Okay.
Um,
Is it an upgraded booth space?
100%.
Just needs 10
So that-
more feet.
That's been really fun and reinforcing. And of course, it's just so many people here we've known for so long because we've
Sure.
been doing this for a very long time. Even people all the way back to the Expedition Trophy days. I ran into Justin Pitcairn, who was like, he was famous from the Expedition Trophy of jumping his Jeep and his adventure trailer
man,
in the
I
air.
remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And great friend. And just to run into folks like that is really meaningful to me.
Yeah.
So the event is so wonderfully run, and it's a testament to what this community is capable of. I think
Absolutely.
not only the industry of this community, but the individuals. So I guess that leads me to another question: is what do you see going forward? What should people anticipate going forward? What are you trying to promote more of, where you'd like to have some maybe industry support? What areas do you see the industry going that people should know about?
Well, I definitely will I'm very passionate about this. So I serve on a couple of different boards. One is the SEMA Board of Directors is something that I took on this June. And then
Congratulations for that, by the way.
thank
cool.
you. I appreciate your endorsement too.
Of course.
Thank you, Scott.
Mhm.
So I also serve on the Off-Road Business Association. We're very active with Tread Lightly. And, one of the things that has obviously, in 2020, we had so many people get out and start recreating. And again, it goes back to education. But, folks, when they're out there, they really do have to recreate responsibly because
Mhm.
it's really important
There's
to
so many people on the trails now, right?
so
Like,
many. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And I think that foundation of education is really important, but also, as people that promote products in this industry, Overland Expo is a place where you can come and get geared up, right?
Mhm.
But all of the people that participate in this event or any event, whether you're going to an off-road event or you're going to an expo to sell, whatever it is, but if you create a product in this industry, you have an obligation. You really do, to create some kind of messaging around recreating responsibly, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day,
But
like
we don't have an industry.
we
well,
don't
it's
have
like what
an
happened with
industry.
rock crawling, right? Is it was a huge thing, and then all the places started getting closed because
Yeah.
people weren't
Overuse
recreating
and-
responsibly.
Yes, and I just think it's really
That's what
important.
terrifies me with the UTV thing is it's such a big industry. But I have to say, like I go to Moab, I even go, locally around Prescott, and things are so torn up right now.
Yeah.
And then even camping areas, like the van life thing and the overland thing is so popular
Yeah.
that they're,
Yeah. Haul out your poop, please. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
like
Literally,
Moab,
yes.
Moab literally had to shut down all camping because of
Yeah.
human feces.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
if we cannot be adult enough to haul out our own poop,
Right.
Yeah.
then do we really deserve to be in the backcountry?
Well,
And I know it's basic, right? I know it's
it
basic.
is an education thing, but there's so many people that are new to this, and there's
Yes.
so many people that are, you know, in the pandemic left the cities.
Yes.
I mean, I talked to so many people today that they worked for Google, or they worked for Facebook, or they worked
Mhm.
for whatever. They had like never camped or done anything before. So
Wow.
they go to Moab and they think, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, no, you're not. Like there's going to be thousands of people that drive down that trail each day.
Right.
And if each one of them does goes a little bit wider on the trail
Yep.
or something, you end up with highways.
Yes.
Um
Yep.
and
And then they're closed.
and then they're
Yeah.
closed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we don't have, if we don't have the places for people to recreate, we don't, as an industry, have, the ability to sell products to those people. We saw
Absolutely.
that with rock crawling. We've already seen it. We've
Yeah.
already been through it. There has to be that responsible voice. Like I've always advocated and say in the podcast, like we need to work with the Forest Service. We need to work
Yeah.
with BLM, to ensure that there are areas for overlanders to go.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just, we're running on like a 1970s management plan or something, right? I'm not saying that's the actual case, but it sure seems like it.
But there are, I got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, there are places in this country that should not be motorized
Yeah.
recreation. I mean, it just is what it is.
Yeah, that's why we have wilderness areas.
That's
and
right. And
Yeah.
and there's a place for that. And again, this public land debate, like we can all recreate responsibly and we can all be in this public land debate and we can use our public lands. But I do think that if you serve a product up to this industry, you really we as industry leaders in this community, we really have to take the stance of
Mhm.
protecting protecting our right to recreate.
Mhm.
But a lot of that is us educating the community, and so starting a movement of responsible recreation, I don't think it's a terrible thing.
Right.
So
It's not. It's essential for our future, and it's essential for future generations to be able to enjoy
yeah.
the backcountry the same way that we have. I mean, I hope that my nephews get a chance to see the same places that I have. And if we keep going out with groups of 20 or 30 vehicles, that's not going to happen. It's
Yeah.
just not responsible.
Well,
So,
and there's so much of this country that you can't see it on foot.
no.
Right.
You can't see it on foot,
Yeah.
and you can't
Yeah.
see it. I mean, even on a mountain bike, there are places that you do need an OHV access
Mhm.
area. But and I just hope that I agree. I hope 20 years from now that we're still promoting Overland Expo and
Yeah.
and we still can
Yeah.
get out there because it's really important. I mean. There's no reason to come to an Overland Expo to get trained and inspired if you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Mhm.
So we all have to work together on that. And I
Yes,
think
we
that
do,
that's
right.
that is so important, and it's so refreshing to hear you both say that
Yep.
and acknowledge that the future of our industry includes responsible use. And we talk about it on the podcast all the time because we don't have a future if we don't do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's a lot of places to go. I think one of the
Yeah.
traps that the industry falls in, and honestly us as media fall into, is we kind of we tend to promote the same places.
Sure.
Like stop going on the Mojave Road.
Yeah, it's getting loved to death. Yeah.
It is.
Like
So much
like
love.
stop going to Moab. Like I mean, the best part about somebody who loves Utah, like I love Utah, is Moab, because that's where like everybody goes. It's the magnet for
Mhm.
everything, and it leaves
Mhm.
everything else like completely untouched.
Yeah.
I mean,
Open
like,
up a map, look for a road in the middle of nowhere, and go check it out.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
love
Try
that
someplace-
challenge. Actually,
Try something new.
Yes.
Try something new. Reduce your impact. Don't geotag your campsites
Oh, yes,
on
absolutely.
social media. There's just a lot that we can do. These are basic things that allow us to preserve these places for future generations. We're so fortunate to live in this country, and we're so fortunate to have public access, and that involves keeping it that way.
yeah.
Yes. So Scott, when are you going to take Jessica and I on a international overland trip?
We
we
have
gotta-
been asking you since
Yeah.
2019.
Not to
Let's-
pressure you on the podcast.
Let's go to. Have you been to Baja?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh well, I've been to Baja,
Yeah.
but
Do you have
Not
trucks?
that way. Not that way though.
Yeah. Do you have trucks?
We can
can
take
have
our
trucks,
ultimate builds.
yes.
There you go. Take the
Yes.
ultimate
Take
forerunner.
Take the
out.
ultimate
Yeah.
build.
We can take the ultimate
Mhm.
builds.
We
Let's do it.
We may
I
have
thought
extra
you were going to say.
trucks.
I thought
just-
you were going to
Okay.
say like Mongolia.
I mean, I
I
want to
think
go
that's
to
what I said the other
We
day.
have been talking about Mongolia since 2019.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the plan always was Silk Road with the Gladiator.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
there you
So
go.
Tajikistan 2022.
We're planning this Africa trip. That's a little bit secret.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
secret anymore.
Yeah.
secret,
It's a little
secret.
bit secret.
It's a
More,
little bit
more,
secret.
more
Secret
soon.
secrets are no
Okay.
fun.
The car is secret.
Oh,
The car
Okay.
is secret.
it's not
but
Africa.
I mean, what were we talking? We're talking southernmost point to the
Okay.
highest point to the lowest point to the northernmost point.
That
Yeah.
sounds
But
amazing.
getting through Libya right now is a little.
Little
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah. Although I met friends in Libya. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
So have you also, I mean, has overseas and internationally, I mean, obviously we usually have a lot of international instructors that come, to Overland Expo, and we weren't able to host those folks this year, but have you seen, travel, ease up overseas?
No, it's still a challenge,
Yeah.
which is, for example, why I stepped onto a sailboat to go out in the
Yeah.
middle of the Pacific. So that
It's
as a
hard.
traveler,
It's hard to
Yes.
get places.
Mhm.
as
It's
a
hard to
traveler, I
ship.
found a different way. Matt was just able to go to Tanzania recently.
Yeah, and it was not easy. Like getting to the Serengeti right now.
Mhm.
South African Airlines shut. You can't
Mhm.
fly through Ethiopia because they're like at war.
Mhm.
So you have to go through all these different places, and then you have the requirements of all the COVID testing. You have to jump through all these
Sure.
hoops.
Right.
Which if there's hoops, that's great. You can jump through, but it's just not attainable for most
Yeah.
people. I mean, it was our honeymoon, so we were willing to spend a little bit more, but
Right.
we probably spent $2,000 on COVID testing for our honeymoon.
Holy cow.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well,
Like-
like one of our favorite 7P trainers, like came in, Duncan Barber. He's
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. Came in from Scotland. I think he was stuck during Mountain West during our actual show in Colorado for 2 weeks in Mexico City because he was like, "I'm not missing West. No way.
Now-
I'm not
so
missing
that's
West
how we
and
got
East."
in. Yeah.
Yes. And now there were other
Yeah.
7P trainers that were stuck in the Virgin Islands. And I was like, I would rather be stuck in the Virgin
like,
Islands
"That sounds
than
terrible."
stuck in Mexico City.
Yeah, they both sound great. They both sound great.
But-
I think
Mexico
Duncan
City's
has
amazing.
been stuck in worse places.
I think so too.
we were sad though that some of our core presenters like Simon and Lisa Thomas
Sure.
and Ted Simon and
Sure.
Sam Manicom, these guys weren't able to come over this year, and that broke our hearts because we want
For sure.
you always see them here and they're
Yeah.
staples at the show.
And they're so inspiring.
Oh,
all
they're
of them,
so
for
wonderful.
sure.
They're such incredible supporters of this event. Sam sent Lindsay and I both separate emails last week, just words
so
of
lovely.
encouragement. And you guys are doing a great job. We support what you're doing. Can't wait to see you when we see you.
Well, I think at the moment is that we have to be, just as we do when we travel, we have to be adaptable. We have to be open-minded. We're not going to be able to go the places that we want. So we will find a way. Adventure will find a way. And that may mean like Mexico right now is open. So that's a place for people to go.
Canada's open now.
Canada just opened up in the last couple weeks. So there are possibilities for people to go and travel. It just may be different than what we originally planned. And I think that that's part of what makes travel so interesting is that, I've rocked up at borders and I find out that the country's at war and I'm like, I've got to find another way. And you
Let's
find
go around.
you find another way. And I think that that's part of the joy of travel is being able to adapt to that. And I think that that is one of the hallmarks of this event is that you have always brought in these thought leaders, these truly experienced travelers, not just good marketers, real travelers. Because it's easy to fill a docket of salespeople that are going to tell people what they should buy when they don't really need to buy much of all of it. But you haven't done that. You've brought in real travelers that have been around the world and they're inspiring people, they're educating people. And they may buy some things along the way, but that's not the premise of it. And I think that that's the most important thing. And that for me, that is why I still believe in this event as much as I do, is that you both have shown incredible leadership, even through this crisis. You've taken good care of your people, and then you've taken good care of the community by reinforcing training, a love for travel, not making the vehicles and the gear the forefront. And I think that that says a lot about you too.
It's really all about the people, and we truly believe that. And what you were saying about the education series, there's a lot of demand for brands to be involved in education, and we are dedicated to keeping that brand agnostic
Yeah.
because we really feel like it's all about the people and their stories and their experiences,
Yeah, I mean, you
and we
have
want to
to
keep
keep it
that clean.
non-biased.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Definitely. Well, and Scott, we have to give you a shout out because I know that you had a hand in helping this event rise to where it is today, being a
Yes.
great media partner and also
Thank you.
part of the contributing team that helped to
found the
It's
event.
been, it
to
has
put
been,
this event
it has
together.
been so fun, the entire process. I'm so grateful for all of it. And of course, I am just a very small cog in my own team's wheel. And I'm just fortunate again to, like you two, I'm so fortunate to have an amazing team of people that are all smarter than I am. Thank goodness. So, so
We
we're,
feel the same.
we're really lucky. So for sure.
Everybody at your office always asks me, like, when can Scott travel again? When's Scott gonna be gone again?
Right.
I think
Right.
they want you out
They're
of
like,
here.
don't you want to go somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, please leave. Please leave. I love
Yes.
that. That's good. Okay, we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
Well, it's really interesting because last year when we weren't traveling as much, I mean, we used to be on the road every other week.
Mm.
And, we got to give a shout out to our husbands because we were
Oh,
home
good
all
Lord.
year last year.
Yeah.
And
They have never had us around this
that
much.
Oh, wow.
And they
Ever.
were like, wow, that's a lot of time together.
It's a lot of togetherness. A lot of togetherness. Yeah.
So this will be a fun question for each of you. What is the place that you've been on your own travels that you loved the most? The place that you are drawn to in your own travels that you've really loved?
Well, one of the reasons we wanted to launch in Colorado was not only to relieve this event of some tension, and to give other other options for folks, but I guess I am speaking for Jessica and myself in this that Colorado has always been a state that we absolutely love. We've vacationed there since we were little kids.
The Rockies are always calling us.
Oh,
The
good.
mountains are always calling
We're
us.
avid snow skiers, so
Oh, there you go.
any day of the week we'd rather be on the slopes, honestly. So
Whether and we love the summers out there. We love to hike and
Mhm.
kayak. And
there's not a bad season in
No.
Colorado.
I actually love Indianapolis in the summer.
Oh, stop
Fantastic
it.
weather.
Yes.
Hey, it's not bad. It's
I can
not
actually
bad.
I can
I
actually
love
hear
tornadoes.
Well, we love Indianapolis in the summer because that's where our friends are, our families are. That's
Yes.
where we grew up. But
Yes.
we'd rather be in Colorado in the summer.
I'd
so
say
good
that-
timing. Why not make an event a place that you want to spend time?
Honestly, since we've been producing events, we always said we wanted to produce an event in Colorado. So selfishly, we did
Yeah.
add that event, but also because it's an adventure mecca, we knew the
Totally.
demand was there, but it was a great opportunity to expand.
No, that was a
Yeah.
great choice for sure.
But
Mhm.
we're mountain dwellers, 100%. We
Yes.
love the cool mornings.
What's your favorite town in Colorado?
Telluride.
Used to live there.
You did?
Yeah,
Oh,
Ridgeway.
stop.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
We were just there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's
well,
where I
a
just
month
got
ago.
married there.
Oh my
Oh, you
gosh.
did?
Alta
Literally.
Lakes. It was amazing.
Alta Lakes, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, my husband and I have been looking at places in Ouray.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
freaking love.
My father-in-law grew up in Ouray.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love it there.
Yeah,
She has family that just her on her husband's side, they just bought a place in Leadville.
Oh,
and-
right on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Awesome.
spent
Leadville,
some time out there.
Colorado, and so we spent some time out there. Right after Mountain West, we actually went out for about 2 weeks
Yeah.
and spent some time there. So
Lindsay took her mother-in-law out in our Ultimate Forerunner, and
my
she was
mother-in-law, oh my
amazed.
gosh, I mean, this
That went
is,
okay.
this is an 80-year-old woman, and she literally could
Uh-huh.
not stop taking pictures. I
Yes.
mean,
Aw-
she
well,
was like,
that's-
Now that's
loving it.
normal.
That's
She
cool.
does love to take pictures.
She does
but-
love to take
That's
pictures.
good.
Yes,
But I'll tell you what, she was like, put me in that Forerunner, lady. Let's go.
loved it. And she brought some chocolate chip cookies with her too.
That's
I'm
right.
sure.
She's,
That's
she's,
fantastic.
she's the cookie maker, man.
Yes.
Like we lived on cookies for like 3 days.
Oh, that's amazing. Is there anything that you two would like to share with our audience before we ask how they can find out more information about the event?
I just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you to everyone. Thank you this weekend for everyone's patience. We had tremendous walk up at this event that we weren't even expecting.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of folks that had a lot of patience with us with the shuttle buses, and we appreciate that more than you know. We are working diligently behind the scenes to add more shuttle buses and get people into the events faster and create better experiences around or pretty much for every event that we're producing. So we just appreciate the fans. We appreciate the community, our followers, and we're just excited to hopefully produce more really cool live event experiences for people and bring
A
people
fourth
more
event.
content.
A fourth event is very exciting. So we look
Yeah.
forward to hearing the announcement on that,
Soon.
which we'll of course share with our audience as well.
Scott, we may give you like a heads up early.
I like that.
You
I
know
li-
that we like to
I like
make
that.
sure you know things.
I like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that very much. And how do people find out more information about Overland Expo, your Compass content
Mhm.
channel, and how do they find out more also about your new not-for-profit?
Everything is accessible at overlandexpo.com. That's kind of a hub of all of our information, and then we have little spokes on the wheel from there, so you can find it all at overlandexpo.com.
And then on Instagram, you're at Overland Expo.
Correct.
And then any other, like your TikTok? I mean, I don't know.
Okay, we did start a
Wait, are we-
TikTok.
are we
We're
TikToking?
dabbling. We're trying to dabble, but we just don't
Still,
know if
I
we want to
don't know
go
what
there.
I'm supposed to do. I
Scott-
downloaded it and I'm like, this isn't working.
Scott, do
think
you have a
people
TikTok?
dance on
I
it.
do not have a TikTok.
Do people dance? That's like where the
Um,
dancing video.
do you
could
guys-
do
I don't
dancing.
dance and I
How
don't
about-
sing
how
and I don't
about
have a
khaki
cat. So
dancing?
How about right after this podcast, we go film a little TikTok with our champagne? What do you
Oh
think?
my god.
That could be our foundational content.
Yeah.
What do you
oh,
think?
that's so good.
Yeah.
That's so
Scott's
good.
like, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm in. I'm totally in.
We
I'm
can
totally
make our TikTok debut.
We could. I'm
Oh,
excited for this.
Very
At
exciting.
Overland Expo West.
Mm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Talk tick.
Yeah.
Matt, any other questions for these two amazing humans here?
You know, I'm just so excited that the event has kept its soul. You know, that I think that was the worry, that was the chatter, and you know, it's Overland Expo, but it's kind of just run better.
That's
Yeah.
really,
Like
we
not
appreciate that.
not to say that like Jonathan and Roseanne didn't run it well. It's just like
They did their very best. Sure.
They
With something
did.
growing
you
that quickly.
professionally run events,
Yes.
you know, and it's grown, which grows the industry.
Yeah.
It's just nice to see.
Yes.
Thank
Well,
you
I mean,
for-
it is a family
Yeah.
owned and operated business. Lindsay and I are sisters. We work together every single day.
Sister.
We make a lot of decisions while drinking wine, so we hope you like our decisions.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, and I think the team enjoys the fact that, their voices are heard. They can throw up a crazy idea and we're like, well, I don't know. You want to throw some money at that, see if it works?
We throw things at the wall to see if they stick all the time.
All the pivots.
All the
All the
you had to
pivots.
say it again.
And on that
me.
bombshell,
Right.
thank you both so much for being on the podcast.
Sure.
And thank you for your leadership in the community and being an inspiration to so many of us. You've done a great favor to this community with what you're doing, and we cannot wait to see what comes next.
That means a lot. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, you're
Thank
so
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
And we thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you next time.